What happens when truth becomes blurry and leadership loses its integrity? What keeps a faith community grounded when culture, opinion, and pressure begin to pull it apart? The book of 1 Timothy speaks into that tension. Written as a personal letter, it addresses public responsibility. Paul shows that faith is not only something to believe, but something to protect, model, and live out with clarity and courage. Overview. 1 Timothy is a letter written by the Apostle Paul to Timothy, a younger leader entrusted with guiding the church in Ephesus. Timothy faces a difficult assignment. False teachers are spreading confusion, leadership standards are being challenged, and the church needs structure, accountability, and direction. Paul writes as a mentor and spiritual father. His tone is firm yet caring. The letter covers doctrine, leadership qualifications, worship, personal conduct, and perseverance. It emphasizes that truth must be guarded carefully and lived consistently. Unlike letters written to entire churches, 1 Timothy focuses strongly on leadership. But its message extends to every believer. Faith is not only about what is taught publicly, but how it is embodied privately. Historical and social context. Ephesus was a complex city filled with competing philosophies, religious practices, and cultural influences. False teaching had begun to distort the message of the gospel, often focusing on speculation, myths, and legalistic rules. Timothy, relatively young and naturally reserved, was responsible for confronting error and restoring order. Paul writes to strengthen Timothy's confidence and remind him that authority comes from faithfulness, not age or personality. This context explains the letter's emphasis on sound teaching, moral integrity, and responsible leadership. The church needed stability in a confusing environment. Key themes in 1 Timothy. Guarding sound doctrine. Paul repeatedly warns against false teaching. Truth matters because belief shapes behavior and community health. Godly leadership. Leaders are called to live lives of integrity, humility, and self-control. Character is more important than charisma. The purpose of the law. The law reveals sin but does not save. It must be used wisely and faithfully. Worship and prayer. Public worship should reflect reverence, order, and gratitude toward God. Contentment and godliness. True wealth is found in godliness with contentment, not material gain. Perseverance in faith. Timothy is encouraged to remain faithful despite opposition, discouragement, or fear. Key passages in 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy 1 verse 5, love flowing from a pure heart, good conscience, and sincere faith. 1 Timothy 3 verses 1 to 7, qualifications for church leadership. 1 Timothy 4 verse 8, godliness with value for this life and the next. 1 Timothy 4 verse 12, leading by example despite youth. 1 Timothy 6 verse 6, contentment as true gain. 1 Timothy 6 verses 11 to 12, fighting the good fight of faith. 1 Timothy 6 verse 20, guarding what has been entrusted. Relevance Today. 1 Timothy speaks powerfully to modern faith communities navigating confusion, division, and competing voices. It reminds believers that truth is not flexible, leadership is a responsibility, and faith must be lived consistently. The letter also addresses personal integrity. Believers are called to align belief with behavior, private life with public confession. Faith grows stronger when it is grounded in truth, practiced with humility, and guarded with care. In a world that often values influence over integrity, 1 Timothy offers a steady and necessary reminder: character sustains faith. Closing thought. 1 Timothy calls believers to protect what matters most. Truth must be guarded, faith must be lived, and leadership must be rooted in integrity. Paul's words to Timothy echo across generations, reminding us that faithfulness is not flashy, but it is powerful. When truth is honored and lived out daily, faith communities grow strong, steady, and enduring.